But beyond that, when we let gout go uncontrolled, it starts to deposit in new places in the body. It may be the joints. It can be other organs like the kidney. It can also lead to damage to the joints. So these are all reasons to address it and get it under control. Yeah, so as Glenn said, talk to your physician, talk to us about it so that we can actually help treat it and make a difference. It's important to be honest and be open about it.
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Marks with GoToHealth. I hope you're having a great day. You know, May 22nd is the 20th anniversary of Gout Awareness Day, and cases are on the rise in the United States, now impacting more than 12 million Americans. Many people have heard of gout. It's a common but serious form of arthritis that occurs when there's too much uric acid in the blood that causes crystals to form and settle in the joints. It affects over 5% of the population, but not many people have heard about uncontrolled gout. It's a less common form of the disease that's often overlooked. Now, we used to think that gout was all due to lifestyle, but we now know that's not true. We have two people with us today to talk about this. There's nothing to be ashamed about, and if you think you have gout, pain in your joints, get seen by a doctor. Don't be ashamed. We're talking with Glenn T., a healthcare administrator who's lived with uncontrolled gout for decades. He's experienced frequent and severe flares that affected multiple joints and significantly disrupted his daily life. We're also speaking with Dr. Sunit Graywal. She's a rheumatologist with more than 15 years of experience working with patients living with uncontrolled gout and rheumatic conditions. If you like what we're doing, please visit our website at GoToHealthMedia.com, where you can opt in for more, or you can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Apple or Spotify. And if you like what we're doing, please give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review. That helps us get evidence-based information out to more people. Thanks in advance. So welcome to the show, rheumatologist Dr. Sunit Graywal and patient advocate Glenn T. How are you both today?
Doing well, thank you.
Doing well.
Good. So I just have to say, both my parents were historians. I know Louis XIV, the Sun King. He's the most famous French king associated with chronic gout. And he had a lot of gout due to his rich diet of meat and alcohol. So doctor, let's first discuss, what is gout? What causes it? How do we manage it?
Yeah, and you bring up a very interesting story to start off with. First, I'll start off by explaining what gout is. So gout is a serious and painful type of arthritis in which the uric acid builds up in the body. And one of the hallmark signs of gout is where the body reacts to that buildup of uric acid, often presenting with joint pain, swelling, redness. Whereas uncontrolled gout is when a patient, despite being on gout pills, they continue to have these symptoms. They might have frequent flares, 2 or more per year, or they develop gouty nodules, which we call tophi. Those are signs of having uncontrolled gout. But it's interesting that you bring up this story and you mentioned the diet. We've come a long way in our understanding of how gout develops. And in fact, there's a misunderstanding that gout is caused by lifestyle or diet.
Really?
In fact, there's a huge genetic component, yes. Or it may be related to how effectively the kidneys are excreting or removing that uric acid from the blood.
Oh, wow. So I had always learned that this was only a lifestyle issue, like too much, red meat, too much alcohol. But you're saying there's it's about how your kidney processes, and also it's in our background or our genetics.
Yeah, and you're not alone in that thinking. More than 12 million Americans are affected by gout. And there's a huge stigma, shame that patients feel, misunderstanding even amongst physicians. And so, we're not having those important conversations about what is really going on with patients and what are they experiencing. And that's why we're probably under-treating and ineffectively treating patients with gout.
Wow. So Glenn, why don't you tell us your story about your experience with uncontrolled gout? What have you experienced in your life? How has it affected you?
Back in the early 1990s is when I experienced my first gout flare. I didn't know it at the time, but looking back and visits with my family physician, that's what it was. And I was very active. I was a triathlete. I loved to enter cycling events. I was recently married, raised 3 boys. So I was loving life. And all of a sudden, after a training event, at a YMCA in the locker room, I had this horrible pain develop in my right foot, and the right toe eventually became inflamed, red, hot, and those started to spread, the gout flares, into my knees, my hips, my hands, and it just became completely uncontrollable. And I developed the tophi, several, not just on my right toe, but on both Achilles heels and other places, including my ear. And because of the continuance and increased numbers of tophi and the flares, which were unbearable at times, I saw my physician, and he realized with a series of lab tests that it was uncontrolled.
Wow, that's quite a story. Did you say you had gout in your ear? Did I understand that correctly?
I had a tophi. It's a white nodule that develops, and I actually had it in my ear.
Wow, amazing. So, doctor, what causes uncontrolled gout, and what are the key warning signs that we may have gout that's uncontrolled? What should we be knowing about that?
Yeah. So again, a lot of this is related to how effectively the kidney is not getting rid of that uric acid in the body. And so when that backs up, the body reacts to that. And so the key signs and symptoms are, first, we're fortunate in that we have a simple blood test that patients can discuss with their doctor. That's the uric acid. The American College of Rheumatology recommends that patients with gout aim for a goal uric acid of less than 6 milligrams per deciliter. So that's a good place to start. And then also, if they are having those signs and symptoms that we talked about, frequent flares where their joints are painful and swollen, or they have developed these interesting nodules on their body, the way that Glenn did. So those are all signs and symptoms that the gout is uncontrolled.
Got it. And what can doctors and patients do if they do have uncontrolled gout? You mentioned before that if they're on medicine, it may not be working. What's the latest treatment for it, and how do people get relief?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, each individual is different. There are other medical conditions that are associated with gout or that are associated with chronic kidney disease affecting the kidney's ability to filter out the uric acid. So, a treatment plan has to be catered to each specific patient. But just to kind of generalize, we have some treatments that are helping with symptoms, helping the flare and helping patients feel better quickly. But then there are treatment strategies, medications that we use that actually reduce the uric acid in the bloodstream. So, it depends on the patient, but if we're monitoring it closely and if a patient is being honest about their symptoms, then we can pick the right treatment for that patient.
Now, you just said something interesting. If patients are being honest, is there shame about this?
Absolutely. There's actually a lot of research that shows that patients often blame themselves, or again, like I said earlier, that they're attributing this to diet or lifestyle. And so I think that is a barrier in physicians knowing what their patient is truly experiencing, and for a patient to be able to have that conversation without feeling that it's their fault.
Got it. So, Glenn, what advice would you give to others if they're experiencing frequent flares of their gout?
The first bit of advice I would give, and I think is most important, is to educate yourself as much as you can, because this is a serious condition. Don't take it lightly. It will affect your lifestyle if it goes untreated. And talk to your physician.
And how did it affect your lifestyle, Glenn? And why should people get it treated?
Well, I went through that emotional stigma, and it affected me in many ways, emotionally, mentally. People would laugh, say, "Oh, you got that rich man's disease," and a lot of stigma with that. So I didn't talk about it, which is what you should not do. You need to educate yourself, like I said, learn as much as you can, and see your physician. It's serious.
Got it. So if people want to learn more, they can go to goutquestions.com. That's GOUT, goutquestions.com. Doctor, can you say more about what people will learn when they go there?
Yeah, so these are resources for patients to understand their gout better or what it is. And then it also provides a guide of questions so that if patients go armed with those questions when they speak with their primary physician or their gout specialist, they can have a more meaningful conversation.
Good. And can you tell us from a medical point of view, why is it important to get gout treated? Why not just let it go and live with it?
Yeah, so obviously, as Glenn described, there's a huge impact on patients' quality of life, being able to do the things they enjoy, being able to work. But beyond that, when we let gout go uncontrolled, it starts to deposit in new places in the body. It may be the joints. It can be other organs like the kidney. It can also lead to damage to the joints. So these are all reasons to address it and get it under control.
Good. So we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Gout Awareness Day on May 22nd. If you think you have gout, don't be ashamed about it. Learn about it. You can go to goutquestions.com and learn more. So each of you, is there a message you'd like to leave with people today, or is there a question I didn't ask that I should have? What kind of message would you like to leave with people? Let's start with Glenn.
Well, I addressed it, but I think the biggest message is to not ignore it. Learn about it and see your physician.
Good. Thank you. And doctor, what kind of message would you like to leave with people?
Yeah, so as Glenn said, talk to your physician, talk to us about it so that we can actually help treat it and make a difference. It's important to be honest and be open about it.
Good. Thank you both for being with us today. It's such an important issue. Again, Gout Awareness Day is May 22nd. If you think you have gout, talk with your doctor. Don't be ashamed. Get it treated. We've been talking with Glenn T. He's a health administrator who's lived with uncontrolled gout for decades. He's experienced frequent and severe flares that affected multiple joints and significantly disrupted his daily life. But he got through it and really started talking with his doctor about it, which is so important. And we've also been talking with Dr. Suneet Graywal. She's a rheumatologist with more than 15 years of experience working with patients living with uncontrolled gout and rheumatic conditions. Thanks so much for being with us both today.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for having
us.
Good. This has been Jonathan Marks. Remember, you can subscribe to us on YouTube or Apple or Spotify, or visit our website and opt in at GoToHealthMedia.com. And if you like what we're doing, please give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review. That helps us get evidence-based medicine information out to more people. This has been Jonathan Marks. Thanks for being with us today. And remember, as we say at the end of every show, you can say it, go to health. God bless. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in today to Go to Health. You are one of almost 10,000 people per day who enjoy the evidence-based health information offered by our guest health experts. You can watch us on our website and YouTube and listen to us on 8 podcast networks. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks in our upcoming shows each week. If you like our show, please share this episode with your friends and colleagues. You can subscribe to the show, join our email list, send us feedback, browse through the online store, and view our library of over 150 shows at GoToHealthMedia.com. See you next time, and remember to elevate your life with Go to Health.